All right, Joe Biden is now the oldest major presidential candidate in the history of the country, and even some of his supporters, his biggest supporters, are clearly concerned about this cognitive decline. Take a look.
I think the president is going to have to deal with the whole issue of age. He is 80 years old. I might add, I'm 82. I do believe that he's up to the task, and that is something that we just cannot pretend is not on people's minds. So I think he has to show the energy that he's been showing over the past several months.
All right, Joe Biden can barely saunter across the White House lawn. He has held far fewer press conferences than any of his predecessors. I mentioned he spends around 40% of his time on vacation. So I'm not exactly sure what energy that James Clyburn is witnessing. Anyway, here now with more, former White House physician, Texas Congressman Ronnie Jackson. Now, you were the doctor for both President Obama and President Trump, correct?
That's right, and Bush.
Okay, and Bush. And you gave the cognitive test to Donald Trump, and you told him when you gave him that test, you must release the results, and they are going to be what they're going to be, period, right?
Absolutely. I told him, like, he said, what's the downside? I said, the downside is if you don't do well, the public's going to hear about it. I mean, it's the way it is. We released all the information from his physical exam and his cognitive exam. All the objective information was given to the press. And I stood up, Sean, in front of the press and defended it for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is I've looked at it. It's not a particularly easy test, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, and there's a lot of things that they could do out there. I mean, Sean, the unfortunate reality is that we have a angry, confused old man leading our country right now. I mean, this is an unacceptable reality for us right now. He tells people that if you're concerned about my cognitive or my mental abilities, I want you to watch me. Watch me. We're watching him, Sean, and we're terrified right now. We are terrified. This man, like you said, I've served 3 presidents. I know what it takes mentally, cognitively, and physically to do this job. This man is a walking disaster right now. He's going to get us into trouble. I'm blowing the alarm bells right now. I'm sounding the alarm bells every single day right now. This man is going to get us into a war with China, Russia, Iran, or North Korea. He's incompetent, and he cannot. He probably will not make it the remainder of the 2 years that he has in this term. To think that he's going to try to serve another 4 years after that and be our commander-in-chief and our head of state for 6 years, it's terrifying. This man doesn't know where he's at or what he's doing. It's crazy, Sean. It is absolutely crazy, and the left knows it, too.
Okay, the left knows it, but I'm more concerned that China knows it, Russia knows it, Iran knows it, North Korea knows it, and our allies know it. There seems to be a great danger, and I call it the new axis of evil, and that's China, Russia, Iran, and now they're peeling away some of our allies that Donald Trump had. That would be Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, and they seem to be forming alliances that I didn't think would be possible in 2 short years. The question is, does everybody around him know that? In other words, his family has got to see what we see. Why isn't there anybody in that family that goes up to Pops, as Hunter says, and says, Dad, it's time. You're really not up to this.
Sean,
I care too much about you to let you continue.
The reality is, Sean, is that their existence, their power, their authority, their position, their ability to work in the White House and live in the White House day in and day out, whether it's his family or whether it's his senior staff, it's all tied to the fact that he's the president of the United States. When he's not president anymore, their jobs and their influence and their authority all goes away. It evaporates the day he leaves. And so these are people that are not concerned about the survival of this country, the national security. They're not concerned about our future and the well-being for our kids. These are people that are concerned about tomorrow and the influence that they have tomorrow. It's pathetic, and it's very unpatriotic, and it's un-American, and everybody can look at this guy and see he's not the man that. Go ahead, Sean.
But it really isn't age, is it? For example,
no,
Bernie
it's not.
Bernie Sanders
is a year older than him.
Okay, Bernie Sanders seems very sharp to me. Recently, Donald Trump did an interview with me. He did one with Tucker. He did one with Mark Levin. He was sharp as a tack. He sat there for well over an hour, well-versed on every issue of the day, having a serious conversation, totally, completely in touch with where he is, and very, very articulate. But that's not Joe Biden.
Sean,
but go ahead.
That's not Joe Biden. That's a perfect example, Sean. Bernie Sanders is a year older than Biden is. The man's very articulate. If you listen to Bernie Sanders talk, you don't not. I mean, he's crazy, but you're not confused about what he wants to do and what he's trying to explain to you. It's not. Donald Trump is 4 or 5 years younger than him. The man can stand up unprompted without any teleprompter or anything else, and he can talk for 2 hours. And he's very articulate, and he's very easy to understand, and he's very easy to relate to. This man, he thinks he's going to campaign for the next 2 years from the basement like he did last year, and that the press is going to protect him. He did his rollout, for crying out loud, from a heavily edited video that we got. This is what we're going to get for the next 2 years. They're going to sequester this guy, try to keep him out of the eye, keep him out of the press, and just hope that he can campaign from the basement again. It's not going to work.
And he's not going to debate, Kennedy or any other candidate if they come on board. Congressman, thank you. Appreciate it, as always.